What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Adriana. If you're new here, I've made several videos about my pregnancy journey, and recently I made a video about my birthing experience, and I've had some moms reach out to me and ask what my recovery was like. So I wanted to spend some time today while my baby is sleeping to talk to you guys about what postpartum has been like for me physically and emotionally. So if you're a new mom or a mom to be, this video is for you. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about immediately after Ace was born. So as soon as Ace left my body, the nurses started cleaning everything up. They started pushing on my belly. The nurses will come in and they will push on your stomach like hard, and it is painful. There are some nurses that'll come in and they're like, I'm so sorry I have to do this, and they'll try to be kind of like as gentle as they can, but it still has to be pretty firm. Other nurses, they don't care, they'll just come in and this just has to happen. The nurse that I had didn't feel great about how like soft my belly was right after. I guess like immediately after it's supposed to harden or something, I don't know, ask a nurse. So she was a little bit concerned about that. Another weird thing that happened immediately after he was born, so they had to start stitching me up. I had to get stitches because I tore. If you don't know this, you haven't watched my birthing video, which is super intense. I highly recommend going over and watching it if you have time. They were asking me to try to be as still as I could, and I tried as hard as I could to stay still, but my whole, like my legs were like flapping around. I could not be still if I wanted to. I don't know why that happens, if it's just like a hormonal thing, like emotions, the adrenaline, I don't know, but I was just like shaking like so hard. It wasn't just like little twitches. I mean, my legs were flapping around. They're like, try to relax, and I was trying so hard, but I just could not. I've had a couple people ask if the contractions just immediately stop right after. I don't remember if they did or not. I don't really remember any pain right after besides the like local anesthesia that they used to give me stitches. Then just kind of the pain down there of like tearing and all that. Hopefully that's not too much information. I guess at this point, there's not such thing as too much information. They have you go and try and pee. I can't really remember how long after, but I was just like in this blissful state because I had my new baby. I wasn't pregnant anymore. It was just the weirdest thing emotionally to feel. Also, right after I gave birth, they gave me morphine. I don't really remember why. They asked me if I wanted it, and I was like, I don't know, is it gonna impact the baby? They said no, and I just remember kind of looking at my husband. He was like, you know, okay, just get it if you need it. I had Ace on my belly, and I just remember getting like super duper sleepy and just kind of like, ah. I remember there being this window that I just wanted to sleep so bad. I just wanted to go straight to sleep. Oh, my baby. He was like kind of waking up but crying. I wanted to go to sleep so bad, and I missed it. I was just talking to people like my mom and Tavis, looking at him and just being so happy that I missed that window of sleep that I could have gotten, and I swear I haven't gotten that window again since then. I get up to go pee with the nurse. She goes in there with me and she shows me how to use the little Perry bottle. I just remember that it stung so bad, like it just stings, and I was terrified to pee after that. After the first time, I will say it really didn't hurt again to pee. But pretty much after that, I was just like cool to walk around. I don't remember how long exactly. I did still feel like really heavy whenever I was moving around. I felt kind of slow and blah. After I started getting up and moving around, the nurses and doctors wanted me to stay for one more day because I had Ace at 7 o'clock at night. It was like the end of a nursing shift, and so they kind of wanted me to stay for one more shift. We didn't have to, but we ended up doing it anyway, and I was really glad I did because at my hospital they had these like jet bathtubs. I was able to take a nice bath while I was there. I just felt better about recovering there at the hospital than at home, and I don't know, I was still just very skeptical, and I just wanted all the help that I could get because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Once I got home, I would say I felt back at 100% like 2.5 weeks later. I finally felt like I could go for a jog if I wanted. I could even squat down. At 2.5 weeks, I felt pretty dang good. Before then, I would say that I still felt like I could do those things, but it was a little bit sketchy. They warn you whenever you leave that you're gonna have bleeding. They tell you how to take care of everything down there. But I will say it's hard to get active again, not because your body and physically, but because your newborn baby is just so demanding. Like, I lived in a chair for those few weeks because he just wants to eat at all times, or he's sleeping, or you want to sleep, or you're just so tired that you just sit there and watch YouTube videos. Physically, I was feeling pretty good 2.5 weeks later, but honestly, this is TMI, I'm sorry, but I was terrified to poop. Right after he was born, it was so scary to me, the thought of like pushing out a poop. I was so scared, and I googled it, and I guess this is a thing that some moms are so scared that they don't poop for a long time, then they end up getting constipated, and that makes it even worse. After that, I was like, okay, I just gotta do it. I just gotta do it. Taking a shower was a little bit scary. I tried to take a lot of baths, but again, just leaving your baby for long enough to go take a bath is like, I would be in the bathtub and then Thomas would come in with him screaming and crying, and I'm like, ugh. Especially if you're breastfeeding, you're the only one that can be what he needs, and that's like a wonderful and bad thing at the same time. One of my nurses told me that if my bleeding increased, like if I went to the bathroom and I had bled a little bit more than I was doing typically, that was a good indication that I had done a little bit too much, that I overdid it physically. And there were times that I would go on a walk, come back, and I had bled a little bit more. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, that walk was maybe a little bit too intense. Maybe I need to slow it down. I was ordering a lot of things from Amazon right after he was born, just because I've realized that there were things that I needed. Go watch my video if you aren't sure what all you're gonna need with a newborn. So I was having some heavy packages coming in, and so I would squat down to pick them up. And that was never a good thing. Getting up and out of chairs was hard. Laundry also, like bending down into the washer, was a little bit of a struggle. Other than that, physically I felt fine. I did breastfeed. I am breastfeeding. I still am breastfeeding. And, whew, those first couple weeks, let me tell you guys. It is a struggle. Now I can't even imagine that it was ever hard, just because it's so natural and it's such a huge part of my day. But those first couple weeks, let me tell you guys, if you're breastfeeding, that was the hardest part of my recovery, because my nipples freaking hurt so bad. There was a point that I got out of the bathtub and my whole body was shaking because my nipples hurt so bad. Down there was fine, but my nipples, it's a different story. I never thought that there would be a point in my life that I'd be talking about nipples on YouTube, but I'm doing it for the moms. That physically was probably the hardest part of my recovery. Emotionally, I don't think that I experienced like the baby blues, some postpartum depression, anything like that. But hormonally, I was like, whoa. There were times that I would just burst into tears. There were times that I would like scream at Tavis. I'll just say that my emotions are a lot more intense. They still are. Right after birth, they were like, whoa. Even now, I would say that my emotions are still a little bit more intense than they were before. I'm not sure if it's from exhaustion or hormones kind of balancing back out, but emotions are definitely intense. Especially being a first-time mom, not knowing what your baby needs. You know, some people that spend time around babies, they're like, oh yeah, of course, like this is what you do. I had never been around babies, and so I'm sitting here just trying things that I think would work. I don't know what he's crying for, and I would just start crying because I'm like, maybe I wasn't meant to be a mom, or I should know how to do this. First time moms, just know nobody knows what the heck they're doing with a baby. You really just have to go through that phase where you don't know what to do, and you try all these different things, and then finally you start like locking some things in. He's 3.5 months now, and I had a moment where I was like, I know exactly what he needs. I know that cry is for a nap. It was just this moment that I was like, I'm doing this. But then that mom guilt set in. I'm going back to work in a few weeks. Am I gonna know that stuff anymore? And anyway, the mental side of motherhood, the recovery mentally after giving birth and after having a baby is way harder than the physical recovery after a natural birth. I don't know, C-section recovery seems kind of tough. Warn your husband that you're gonna be cray-cray, that you just need him to support you. I wanted to talk about some things that you're gonna need. While you're at the hospital is gonna give you some things. I don't know if this is like universal, but I'll tell you guys what my hospital gave me. Actually, let me show you guys. I'm sweating. Can you guys see this? Oh my goodness. Bruh, it's freaking hot. Let me show you guys why. My husband thinks that our thermostat should be set at 78. Let me just Let me show you guys the things. I actually still have some of them because I'm already planning baby number 2, you know, trying to convince my husband, but he's like, no way. I'll show you guys what I have. I also bought diapers because I just felt like that was gonna be easier. It was for the first few days, but after a couple days, I was like, I don't even need this. Like, this is uncomfortable and I don't need that much padding. And so that's whenever I went to just the regular pads. But I'll show you guys a picture of the diapers that I used. I left the hospital in those diapers and I used them for a few days once I got home. Okay, so I'm an idiot and I covered up the microphone the whole time I was filming this part, but I used this purple basket, put it on the counter with all of these things in it. This is these Tux cooling pads. They have witch hazel in them, and the hospital gave these to me. I don't really know how I feel about them because they really were kind of inconvenient to use. I wish it was more of just a wipe or like a pad. These are just regular pads that, they're the extra long nighttime ones. Once I kind of pass through the phase in the diapers, I use those instead. And then I have some panty liners for whenever the bleeding was really light. And this is the Peri bottle that the hospital gave me. I used it every single time I went to the bathroom. It's kind of gross that there's still water in there, but you know. And I also forgot to mention and show you guys, but the hospital did give me some ice packs, and I had some of my own as well. If I could go back, I would buy a lot of big baggy cotton t-shirts. Everybody always posts these like cute nursing clothes. I preferred just a baggy t-shirt that I could easily just lift up. I didn't wear a bra like that whole time. If I did, I wore this one cotton one. I just found that like the silky soft materials that you think would be nice ended up just being like not comfortable at all whenever it came to breastfeeding, because that material is gross once it gets wet, and like if your milk leaks through. Oh goodness. But I just found that I preferred cotton materials in my postpartum clothes, and so I would just go to like Goodwill, get some extra large freaking cotton awesome t-shirts and just wear those the whole time. Okay guys, that's all I got for you. Please DM me on Instagram if you have any other questions. I respond to everyone that writes me from YouTube. I've had several people reach out about my birthing story, several people reach out about products that I've used. So if you guys have any questions, please write me. I love connecting with new moms and moms to be. It's the craziest, best thing ever to be a mom, and there's just this community of moms that need help and that reach out and lean on each other, and it's just the best thing ever. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. If you could subscribe, that would be freaking awesome, and I would appreciate it so much. Hopefully this is helpful for you, and I'll see you guys next time.
No top.